Hello everybody and welcome back to Rudis Props. Yeah, it would be a little bit ridiculous if I would say it's been a while. Actually, it's been more than 2 months this time, and I promised to do this like every month one time. But yeah, well, since there was the update, I couldn't do this because in all honesty, I have been preparing some backstage props as a Rudis Props episode for the month of March. But yeah, as it turned out, there was a little update which just gave us so many brilliant pieces for backstage. I thought, okay, let's not follow this any longer because yeah, there's literally no reason for it. And so I was looking into something else. And I came up with this little piece, what you can see right now. And this is Rudi's gardening props, or like park props. There's one thing I've been missing in Planet Coaster since the very beginning, and although there is a lot of stuff we can use, and also the Spooky Pack introduced some great new items to it, I was still lacking some really English garden style things. Like, I don't even know if it's English garden style or is it just garden style or park style, but you know, this general like chill park style where you really have in the middle of a city, you will have this like royal garden where you have some, you know, curbs and barriers and little walls and kind of iron fencing, as you can see over here what I just did. That's really what I was missing a lot, and you way more often than you usually would think do see this in theme parks as well. Like, you know, most often in European parks, but also Asian parks love to copy this kind of middle European royal style. So you will find a lot of Asian theme parks that use this kind of park styling as well. Maybe the US parks are a little bit different. There are, you know, people used to say the parking lot parks, but yeah, well, never mind. Still, I think this is a great idea to create items that can be used in this way. And in the end of this video, well, it's not in the end of this video, the second part of this video, because that will be a quite long video, will be the live part of this video where I'm going to show you how you can use those pieces and how I set them up for you to be used. And you can also find this stuff in the workshop. I have uploaded this yesterday evening. I'm not quite sure if I guess I will put this online already before the update is the episode is on. I'm not quite sure, honestly. Maybe it's, well, never mind. When the video is live, it will definitely be in the workshop, so you can grab it, and I would love if you would do it and test around and give me some feedback down below in the comments, because this time I would like to hear your feedback, and maybe I am going to yeah, change it a little bit then according to what you guys say. But yeah, you can see I first of all made a whole bunch of different assets regarding some general garden props, like garden curbs and this very simple stuff like curbings and little fences, iron fences most likely. And yeah, basically this is wait. Before I then moved on to create some floor graphics and some different stuff, unfortunately I needed to cut out a little bit of the time-lapse because, well, and now I'm going to tell this little story because this video is very long, so I can tell the story. So I have been having some really bad issues with Planet Coaster, as I've already explained in Fortress Camelot. So I had some crashes and, you know, general performance issues and stuff, and I still wanted to record, but it turned out that all my recordings got lost just because of the fact that that the game was always crashing. At some moment in time, there was just this little copy crash. I believe many people had this, so if you want to copy stuff with Control X, you know, the game is going to crash. And I don't know why, but even though I recorded in AV, I couldn't restore the file properly, and that was a little bit of a bummer because I lost a little bit of footage of different things. I managed to recover most of them, but it turned out that my cutting software, which is Premiere Pro, couldn't deal with those files. So no matter what I tried, I just couldn't render the stuff because it always gave me an error message and stuff. So what I did then is I changed my recording setup in that kind of way that it always ends after 10 minutes and then starts a new recording. So I always have files that are only 10 minutes long. So in theory, that was a brilliant idea to save some footage, and if, you know, the game was crashing, I would just lose at max 10 minutes. Good idea, I thought. But it turned out it wasn't that good of an idea, because rendering a video out of, like, for example, for 10 minutes, it would be more than 10 parts, because I'm speeding up videos by 10 to 12 times, which essentially means that one video file is only 1 minute long. The first thing is it's a pain to actually, you know, cut the video together, but also it seems to be a pain for my video recording software to render this stuff. So it took ages to render, if it was even rendering at all, because it always aborted or cancelled. And since I was doing this overnight, I wasn't having an eye on it, so I couldn't just look if it's all going fine. And yeah, so it turned out that that was a mess, and I used this technique actually to record this very gardening thing over here, which turned out to be a kind of bad idea, because I had 36, so 3 hours and more than 3 hours actually, like 36 files, which means 360 minutes, which is way over. It's like 6 hours actually of footage, and I needed to cut this together, and it somehow didn't work. So I used my old video software, which is Vegas or like Magix Pro, and it worked, but it took me 8 hours to render this stuff together. And you can even see that the quality it's okay, but it's not the best quality. So at the end of the day, it was a bad idea. So I now went back to having normal files of 30 to 60 minutes, which is way better in terms of my recording software, or my cutting software, I should say, or my rendering software, if you will. And yeah, we are just back at it. But now I want to just explain a little bit more about, and I hope you couldn't hear that because I was hitting my microphone. That's a long time ago that I did this lastly. But anyways, I am creating some assets I've been looking for to have in the game for ages, and I am quite happy with the outcome. So yeah, you can see, or you have seen already, how the benches look like. I created some iron benches with some wooden pillars in it. Unfortunately, it will be looking, or it does look a little bit worse when you actually place a bench inside of it, but it does work. So if you use the normal park bench, the flat one with little stone thingies on the right and left side, this looks brilliant. And now what I was missing a lot is a bin or a trash can, which actually has this little piece on top, as you can see here. So, you know, all the trash cans we have in Planet Coaster, they're open. Well, open, yeah, that's good that they're open, but they just have an open hole, as you can see with this one here, but they don't have something above them. So usually you do see that quite often, and I mean, like, most likely, because if it's raining, I mean, good, we don't have rain in the game, but if it's raining and the trash is always like completely wet, and it's, you know, that's not the best way to have it. So they do have little things on top of it. I do know it doesn't work together with the behavior of our guests, that they do throw stuff over their shoulder inside the trash can, but you know what, I go for this sacrifice, and still I want to have some trash cans with little top over them, or on top of them, just to have this little extra parkish look to it. And I know I'm not the first one to do it, but I at least did them so that you can really use them with actual bins, so that at least they do have a usage, and they're not just cosmetic things. So yeah, at the end. Yeah, well, and as always, if you do have some bins and benches, you always need to have park signs, and I also wanted to make those, you know, really simple park-styled signs. It's not awfully detailed, or it's not like many pieces inside, because I really want you to grab those pieces and use them use them a lot, like build your own park with them, and I don't want your frame rate to be crying from pain. I really want to make this a usable set. And I think the most performance heavy things are the floor graphics, which you have seen just a tiny little bit of it in the time lapse, unfortunately, but I think they are really cool, and hopefully you can use them quite a lot. And yeah, if you download this stuff, you will see it's the overall package is just a little bit over 1,500 pieces, so it's actually not that big, and you have a whole bunch of stuff inside it. So there is a lot of things to use, like you have bins and benches, you have those different variants of curbs, you have some planters, you have some gardening stuff in general. You also have this one, which I'm working on right now, which is, you know, that was one thing I wanted to do for such a long time as well. This is like, you know, the little planter thing, which is always there when you have a new tree. You know, if you set up a new area in a theme park, or maybe in a park, in a general park, it doesn't even have to be a theme park. It can also be like a, you know, just a public park in your city. They always have these things to make sure that the tree is growing in a natural way, so it's not leaning too far to any side of it. So they want to have, you know, this one to make sure that the tree is growing the way they want it to grow. And this is what you usually see in a park, like, you know, people want the trees to grow exactly like they want it, and then you need these things. And I think this is really one thing you do see quite often in the theme park, or as I said, in a general park. And yeah, hence why I did this one. And I moved on also to create some new lanterns as well. And I think we have, you know, those are also just very, very simple. I didn't want them to be crazy. I just wanted to make simple lanterns which you can use in a park, which looked a little bit more royal, a little bit more iron elements to it. And you know, there are already two good ones in the park, and so I thought, okay, or in the park, in the game, and I thought, okay, let's give it two variants of those spheric lights, and one with the classic light, and two lower ones, because I actually like how the lower lights always do look like. But now we are going into constructing actually park, because, you know, this time I wanted to have a proof of concept. Last time with my more foliage pack, I didn't really use it before I was releasing it, and I found a few issues with it. So if I would have done that again, I would have, you know, tested it a little bit better beforehand. But anyways, let's not talk about the last one. Let's talk about how you can use this pack. And by using it, I actually, you know, I made life not that easy for me. I put myself into some actual problems by just building the path way before, and I wasn't even paying attention on how I did build the path. And I assume that's the way how you want to build your own park as well. I don't want you to, I don't want to force you to use the styling I set into my pieces, because I really took a very parallelish look to them. You know, I used the different angles of the pathway if you have angle snap turned on, but just to make you some generic usable things. You know, for the park in general, I want you to be completely free, because Planet Coaster, like the biggest strength of the game, is that we can build completely free and off any grid. So that's also what I want you to provide with the pack, and I think in the end it worked quite well. You can use all the pieces to the extent I wanted to make them to be usable, and as you can see, I did try around, and so I tweaked some of the elements a tiny little bit, and so you can see they work perfectly. For most of the angles, you can actually use the pieces just like perfectly. Sometimes you have to adjust little things, but I'm going to explain that a tiny little better in the real-time part. But yeah, anyways, I think that should be enough from my side. You can see now a little bit more of the creation process of the actual little park. And just to make sure, this whole process was not much more than, I guess, 45 to 55 minutes. So actually you can build a nice and decent looking park with this set in no time, which is, I think, a brilliant way to do it. And that's what I wanted to create with that pack. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the little commentary over the time-lapse part. And now I would say, Rudi of the past, the time-lapse Rudi says goodbye, and I'll hand it over to my real-time self, which then will take care of you in the real-time part. But first, enjoy the last minute of time-lapse with a little bit more music, and have a nice Friday, guys. And yeah, anyways, see you in the real-time part. Bye. Hello there, and here we are in the live part as promised. And what you can see is the finished product of the little park I did. So as I explained in the time-lapse part already, this is just a very quick thing to show you how the set works. And now to show you a little bit more in action what I made for you with the pack, I am going to jump over to the pack, which is over here. And yeah, you have seen most of it already in the time-lapse, but now I just wanted to show you this in detail for a second, because the time-lapse was really quick. It's sped up by 15 times, so it really goes really quick. So I believe you can't see that much. Oh, I see the bottom is not perfectly aligned here because I moved it, and yeah, that's basically why it is not aligned perfectly, but for your blueprint it should be. So as explained, I already set up this shorter piece for you, for those two. This bigger one I left as it is because this is for the main roads. This is like for the shorter roads, and you can use this piece over here to go in and make a little fencing if you want. So you have a shorter piece over here as well, you have a rounded piece over here, you have a longer rounded piece, and just with and without. So I tried to at least give you all possibilities you need. So always the naked piece, the one with the fence, and each of them separated. So I guess that's the most easy thing to do. And then we have those little things over here. As I said, I love them. I just love them because it's something I haven't seen in Planet Coaster yet, but I see quite often in parks. And for example, last year when I've been to Taron the first time, like half of the area from Taron is made with those pieces, because all the greenery and all the plants they have put there haven't been, they haven't grown fully yet. So basically that's why they still need to grow, and then they put these kind of fencing around to guide the little plant in the direction they want to have it. And this is why I also wanted to provide you with those pieces. You can also obviously copy that over, move it in as you want to. Yeah, I just put that in here, and if we then move in, you can surely, whoops, now we have a little bit of lag. Okay, this is always opening the first thing. Delete that one, and you have the naked one, and you can put in whatever you want. But yeah, let me just get rid of it for a second. Then we have, before we go to the most important thing, then we have this little thing. I have to say I'm quite happy with those, and let me just show you what I also did for you to make it more easy to, you know, customize this. So if I grab this and copy this over just to show you, you can use that if you want as a smaller one, and if you move it in like this, you have just one step, as you can see. That's just one step. It's very narrow. You can even put that next to the road if you want to, or the path. Or if you move it a little bit higher, it has this second step and fits way better into a little bit of a gardening area. So if you have, for example, plants over here as well, you may want to have two edges or two borders to separate a little bit more from the overall little planter or little garden you have there, to make it seem a little bit, you know, raised, which I do like. I have to say, I like this quite a lot in parks. Then again, when we go in, you definitely want to recolor stuff, don't you? I guess everybody wants to recolor. You want to make it blend in perfectly into your individual park, and so I managed to give you kind of this piece in a way that you can recolor it very, very easily. So if you want to recolor the soil, just go over like this, you just select those and then you go in and you change the color of it. So let's say we want to have a darker soil now. Let's put it like this, and I don't want to have this step in white. I want to have this step in, let's say, what kind of color do we want? Like kind of a darkish gray. Then you go and select, whoops, that was a little too much. Select this floor part over here. You might want to go just a little bit more down. You can see how this is aligned down there. Why does it work now the way I want to? I guess it is now. Yeah, that's it. So you just select those, and then we go in, and you can see, okay, we can go into a little bit darker-ish gray. There we go, and that's it already. See, we have already recolored the whole thing, and if you compare that to this one, it's already like a new piece. And yeah, basically all of those things I have done in this way, and that's basically why I chose to use these pieces upside down instead of just making this a flat piece, right? I mean, I could have just taken this one, you know, move that up and use it as like kind of an edge like this, see, like that, and then move it up like this, you know, something like that. You know, it's not the same, but that would have worked also perfectly. It would have saved a lot of pieces, to be honest, but that's not what I wanted to do, because that would have been a little bit more complicated to recolor stuff, because then you have to click those each individually, and obviously you can't make that roundish corners with it. So basically that's why I chose to make it this way. This doesn't only work with those pieces, this also works over here. So if we go into this thing, you just can select pretty easily this area over here, make this, I don't know, like say darkish green, like this, and then select that one single column and put it into gray, and it's recolored as well, right? That's it. Perfectly. So it's very easy. Same goes obviously for those pieces. The only thing you have to do is keep in mind that you always want to select those pieces down below there, because if you select them like this, you will have the little pillar in here. I mean, you can deselect that manually, that works as well, but I don't even know where it is all the time, so it has different locations to make it the most easy way for you to move them around. So that's why I made those things buildings. And this is why you want to select those down here. And then again, let's say we want to have this as a yellow floor graphics. There we go, it's yellow. It's pretty easy. You can use that pretty much everywhere if you want to. And you can recolor them pretty easily as well. So same goes for this one. Just go down here. You see all, you know, you see the little darkish area. And the only thing you want, oh, that was a little bit high. The only thing you want to do is, first of all, go into the right building, select those pieces, and there you go. Wait, you have to, oh, okay, I forgot, you have to deselect those pieces because they are not the same. My bad. There we go. Just let's deselect those pieces. Yeah, okay, now I changed the building. You may want to move pieces around before you do so. But anyways, I guess the idea is pretty obvious. You just need to select the lower part of it and just deselect those columns in the middle because they are different, and then you can recolor it pretty easily, and that's it. Same goes for these pieces over here. This is a little bit more of a higher planter. You obviously can also recolor these pieces over here. I just thought, okay, make it a kind of grass-ish texture would look nice, but yeah, it's up to you. You can all recolor this. It's all pretty generic, to be honest. It's not crazy colors or whatsoever. It's basically that what you find in most parks, so that's what I oriented myself to. But yeah, so now let's go into the most important pieces. As you can see, I'm sorry, my voice is still not entirely back, but I feel still like a cat, you know, the cat licking on these wool pieces and then having the big ball of wool inside them. Well, never mind, let's not talk too much about it, but that's actually how I feel. Yeah, that's the overall most important thing of the park set I made for you guys, because we have 3 different lantern versions. So we have the pretty easy lantern like that, then we have a bigger one which could be in the middle of a area, and we have this one which is also for the side of the path. So basically this one in the middle is like a nice one you could put into the middle of a plaza or something, because it does light the area to all angles, and those two are pretty much for like the border of your path. So this is shining to the inner part, and this is more like if you put some benches to the left and to the right, they do have the light cast to those sides. Then again, we have 2 simple signs. You know, the thing is, I don't want to make them too fancy. You know, those are looking nice, I guess. They look kind of right, but they're not too crazily detailed. Obviously, I could have gone into and make this all look even more detailed, put some small details in here and stuff. But that's not what I wanted to achieve with that pack. I wanted to make it really slick, really light for you guys. So the only thing is, what you have to do is to go in, click that sign if it is clickable, there we go, and call this Rudis Park, for example. There we go, Rudis Park. You can also change the font if you want to. I just looked for some good ones over here, but you know, that's up to you. You can use whatever font you want. I wanted to make them small, so this is also why I didn't really put in with custom billboards or something, because that's pretty much not the way I wanted to make it, because the custom billboards would have the problem that yeah, we definitely would make the signs bigger, and I wanted to make this all real size in a way. And if we go back to the park later on, I can show you that this is all pretty much in scale, which I'm really happy with. Then again, we have this sign over here, pretty much same story. You go in, choose the sign, change the text to, I don't know, let's call it butt pressure park. This is especially for Epedemic. Oh, we can't even, wait, there's a K missing? Did I miss the K? No, I can't, so we have to, then let's say, is it Canaanite? I guess it's written correctly. There we go, that's fitting. So I like your comments lately, so that's why I dedicate this one to you now. I do want to make this way more often, guys, so for all of those people commenting way often and you know, being in the streams and stuff, I really appreciate that. So I always want to get you in a little bit more into my parks, and I definitely have to make a big sign for DL Fendel as well. I pretend this will be a library, like if I ever make a library, I will definitely call this the DL Fendel library, because that makes sense. But anyways, let's talk about the other things as well. We have two bench covers. I call them covers because they're actually in the size of the actual Planet Coaster bench, so you can make them functional. So do they. Those bin covers or trash can covers also work pretty nicely. So this one is a cosmetic and functioning, so you can put this over the bin if you want. So this one is pretty much the one you can use for two different variants of bins. I will show you later. And this one is pretty much the only one you pack around the new park bin, or I guess it's even, yeah, I guess you have to use the studio's bin, because that's the only one which is small enough to fit inside this little cover. And then again, we have another cover with another top. But yeah, and what we have else are those little lights over here, which you can put into your little gardens or whatsoever to make them lit as well. That's basically everything I want to talk about of this set before we go into the park again to show you the size. I'm just going to grab this piece for a second. I don't even know. Oh, that was a little bit far. So this is our park, and if we move in now, you can see people are moving around here. And obviously, yes, I made them all with the pieces, the barrier pieces, so that people walk around. But as you can see, it's all pretty much in size. So it's not too big, it's not too small. So if you take those pieces, persons over here, you can see the bench is properly fitted. Those little lights are at this right height, and also this one is pretty nice, and also the lanterns and stuff. So it's all kind of fitting. You can see the sign is fitting and all this kind of stuff. So it is working, which I'm pretty happy about. But if we now, is this just a cover? Yes, it is. So if we, for example, look over here, you can see I already used this thing and I didn't really fit that perfectly in. So that's basically better. You can really see how this cover does work. So obviously, yes, people would throw stuff through the piece over here because we don't have any bin in the game which is close to the top, so people always throw it over their shoulder inside it. I love the animation, but sometimes it's really weird because I would also love to have those things, like, you know, covers on top of it, because you do see that quite often, which makes sense because, you know, trash does smell, and if sun and rain comes in, obviously we don't have rain, but yeah, if you imagine we would have rain, then, you know, that wouldn't be that nice if the trash would all be wet, and yeah, well, yuck, it's not nice. And then it's warm again, and the wet stuff, it's, wow, no, I don't want to even think about this. But anyways, what I wanted to show you is if we go to, nope, not to building, to scenery, and we go to props, and no, we don't go to props, to past extras and bins. So if you place down, for example, some variants, let's put down some variants just to show you that it's pretty much working with most of them. I guess the barrel bin might not work, but I'm not too sure. This doesn't really work. I'm quite sure, because that's too high, and this might be too wide, but apart from that, I think those do work all kind of nicely. So if we then go and grab this cover, you can pretty much see that you can use this cover like pretty much always. So like just move it to the other position, put it on top. Well, it doesn't look that nice, so you would like to change the color of it, but yeah. So for example, if you go to the standardish park bin, it does perfectly fit to the edges. Usually it should. Yes, it does. So as I said, and then you can move it down a tiny little bit. Make sure to color this one also darkish green, or even darker. And there we go. We have this one, which I think it looks also decent. You know, it's not the best way. It's definitely done for those shapes, but it does work. So you can also copy that over, put it on top of this one, and make, oops, I don't want to hit escape. Make this one also like parkish color. There we go. It's like this one as well. I think that works also pretty nicely. I didn't even think of this, but yeah, that does work also pretty nicely. We can't recolor this one yet. No, we can't, but we can recolor this one. So same goes also for this one, obviously. Just copy this one over, move it in, make it a bit higher than for this pretty piece over here. There we go. It's, you know, it's not perfectly aligned, but you get the idea, right? So you get the idea. Now let's see, people have some trash in their hands. Let's see if they do use one of the bins. They do. And now how does it look? Yeah, see, that's actually the issue. Now they need to pee. Well, just get... Okay. That's strange. Well, I wonder who that was at Frontier speaking in those voices anyways. Yeah, but guys, that's it about it. That's it about it. What? That's it about the park set I made for you guys. Hopefully you like it, and make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, whatever in the workshop. You find this in the Steam workshop right now. The link is in the description below, obviously, as always. And guys, make sure to hit that like button, and also if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so. And also, very important, what I forgot recently to mention is make sure to click that bell, because notifications on YouTube seem to be completely broken. YouTube even released a video that they have no clue what happened. But if you want to see new videos of me, and I think you have subscribed for a reason, right? And you should at least get an info that I have a new video, and I can promise you there will be a few videos in the next couple of weeks. Then make sure to hit that bell on my YouTube page to make sure that you get the notifications. It's weird, I don't know why, but just make sure to click that thing. But yeah. All in all, I wish you the best of days, guys, and hopefully you like this set. Give me a feedback in the comments below, and then I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, guys.
We should be hiding out wherever we may find love.